In this lesson, I'm introducing to students an application of direct variation. It's the second day that we're comparing direct and inverse variation, so I have them look at an article on the Regents exam website. It's a teacher resource off of Regents. And basically the article is about how Leonardo da Vinci knows that body proportions, he uses it in his art. And so we look at question 1 and question 2 where it says varies directly is the key word. We talked about what does varies directly mean. It means that it also varies proportionally. So that's another way we can write that term. If it's direct variation is varies proportionally. Well, if it varies proportionally, how could we solve that? Well, if it varies proportionally, we could set up a proportion. What is a proportion? We talk about it's just equivalent ratios set equal from each other. The ratio is just comparing two things, and I asked the students, well, what two things are we comparing? In the first question, we're comparing face length to chin length, so I encourage students and try to get them to write out the words that what order that they want the ratio to be in. And I give an example of if I asked you the ratio of girls to boys in the classroom, you would have to put the girls first and compared to the boys because that's the way I asked the question, and that's the response that I wanted in that order. And so if you're comparing face length to chin length, that's the order you need to write both ratios on both sides of the proportion. And so we have the face length was 9 inches compared to 1.2 inches. And then the what is the person's face length is the unknown that's missing. And chin length was 1.5. I had some students that just looked at what the ratio value was, like 9 divided by 1.2, and got the decimal value. And then figured out what x had to be to get the same decimal value or equivalent decimal value on the right-hand side of the equal sign. And so the other two things that we're comparing in question 2 was the human height is proportional to the human shoulder width. So if you write that as a proportion, the first ratio would be if a person 70 inches tall has a shoulder width of 18, what is the height, that's going to be the missing variable, of a person whose shoulder width is 16.5. And so we talk about cross multiplying and go through the process of cross multiplication to refresh their memory of how to solve using that.